Hello and welcome to another episode of Just Talking About Films. This will be our last episode in this series, but don't worry, it just means we're having a week's break. And then we'll be back and call it Season 2. My name is Ian Sargentson.
My name's Luke Taylor. It is great to be with you. We're taking a week off next week, but we will be back, and it gives us a chance to just prepare a few things as we get ready for the next series. But we are joined today by a very special guest, Olie. It's great to see you.
Hi guys, you all right?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Enjoying the nice weather we've got at the moment.
It's very, very, very warm. I'm absolutely melting right now.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it for a day, 2 days, and then I just hate it and moan about it on all my social media. But,
I don't know. I love it. I've got the paddling pool. I fell asleep in the paddling pool a couple of days ago, which was fun.
Sorry, you fell asleep in the paddling pool?
I did fall asleep in the paddling pool. Got a little bit of sunburn on my chest. But it's all right. It's calmed down a bit now, but it's nice. It's good weather. It's lovely.
It is. We'll miss it when it's gone, I tell you. As soon as it starts raining, hoping it was still like this.
So Olie and I both know each other because we live in the same town and we're friends. And obviously the three of us are part of a film club. So we've chatted about films before, and it was always our plan to get Olie on to the show. But as a teacher, his time is obviously taken up during the day normally, and most of his evenings as well. So now it's the holidays. We got him on at the first opportunity. So welcome, Olie.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
No, thank you.
Let's start with what we always start with, and that is what we've been watching this week. Who wants to get us started? Ian, you've only got 3, so do you want to start?
Yeah, so I've only watched 3 films this week. So I've been busy staying out of the sun, playing golf in the sun, and just various different things. So I got 3 films watched. So I got around to watching Angel Has Fallen. So I think I watched the first one. Is the first one Olympus Has Fallen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Olympus Has Fallen, then London Has Fallen.
I thought it was all right, and then London Has Fallen. I was kind of offended by it.
What the liberties it took with London?
No, just the shoddiness of the film.
Yeah.
So I was reluctant to watch it, but I'd heard okay reviews. But I think it was exactly what I expected. It was, cliched plot, cliched characters, dodgy CGI, but harmless entertainment with, a clear good guy versus bad guy narrative that we've all seen before. But it was all right. It was okay just to switch off for 2 hours and watch it. So yeah, it wasn't horrendous.
I haven't seen it, but out of all, like when that first one came out, Olympus Has Fallen, and it came out, White House Down came out at the same time. If I was to put money on which one was going to get a sequel, I would have thought it was the other one.
Yeah,
White House Down.
Is Olympus Has Fallen? Is that the one with the Hercules plane with the minigun?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
It's the one that's much more violent than the other one.
Yeah, it can't be forgettable, can it? If I remember something from it.
But it's got like Gerard Butler and Morgan Freeman in it. Do you know what I mean? So you think it's all right. And the other one was White House Down. That was Channing Tatum, was it?
And Jamie Foxx was the president. But that one did have the president, shooting a gun while driving on the White House lawn.
Why not?
So I remember watching them both because they both came out at the same time, similar time, thinking neither was particularly great, but they weren't bad. They are what they are. They lean into that. So that was fine. Watched that. I think I rated that a 7 out of 10. And then due to another podcast I listened to, actually, the At The Flicks podcast, they had a guest on there who chose his top 5 films that were all great films, and just listening to them talk about them got me inspired my next one, which was The Shawshank Redemption. Now, I hadn't seen it for a long time, and I know I loved it, and I know it's highly rated, and it was one of them ones that revisiting, I was thinking, is it as good as I remember, or do I just like it because it's you should like it because everyone likes it? But I think it's even better than I remember. Do you know what I mean? It's an
amazing film. It was a flop, complete flop at the cinema.
Yeah.
Complete flop, made nothing. And then as soon as it came out on video or DVD, it just grew this kind of cult following, and it is a brilliant film. It's really well made, really well paced, and I don't know why it didn't do well. Maybe it's not a cinema type film, is it? Really?
I guess
it's
no. Maybe it just something about the way it was sold or the way it was marketed just didn't appeal.
Yeah.
I didn't see it at the cinema, but I remember watching it on DVD, thinking, "How did I miss this?"
Yeah,
but it's just so good. Every aspect of it. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot less predictable than I remember. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, I don't want too many spoilers, but I thought the whole thing that happens at the end, you knew about that, but you don't.
No.
It's about the relationship really, and how tough it is, and different aspects of it. And then you go, oh, but because I'd obviously knew, but it was I just loved it. It was just so good, such good acting, all about friendship, about redemption, about truth and justice, and it was just good. I just really, really enjoyed it. So that was amazing. And then the last film that I watched yesterday was 10 Things I Hate About You.
Classic.
That's
Great film. I mean, I haven't seen it for a long time.
Classic.
I remember again enjoying it back when it was probably less cool for me to enjoy films like that. But, I mean, it's Shakespeare, isn't it? So it's always going to be good as far as the story goes. But just really, really enjoyed that. Had a lot of fun with it. Heath Ledger, another great performance. So
that's a brilliant film. It's an absolute classic film. That Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah.
Great story. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think it's billed as this kind of teen kind of poppy kind of rubbish movie, but it really isn't. It's really cleverly done, and the characters in it are brilliant. Yeah, there's so much it's so funny. Yeah, it's got great comedy. We introduced it to Micah, to our eldest, a couple of months ago, and he absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
one of the best movie dads as well.
Sorry?
One of the best movie dads in any film.
Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he? Yeah,
of his rules. But I just really enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? In the same way that I think I like Clueless. So I've always been a fan of Clueless, and I can watch it over and over again. And I think this is the same. And as you say, Ollie, it's not just, a nonsensical teen movie. There's that aspect of it, but it's a great story wrapped up in that. But the comedy is good. The nods to Shakespeare are good. The little Easter eggs that are in throughout it are good. Yeah, the soundtrack is tremendous.
It is really good.
So I really liked it. Yeah, so I enjoyed watching that again. So that's the 3 films that I've been watching this week.
Brilliant.
Brill. Who wants to go next? Do you want to go next, Ollie? Yeah,
sure. I'll go next. I have been busy, really busy. Painting. We're redoing my son's room, so I've been painting and buying and selling furniture and doing stuff. So I haven't had a massive amount of time, but I have managed to go to the cinema twice.
Oh, great!
Which has been good. So I went to see Black Widow with a friend, which I thought was really good. It's really entertaining, fast paced, and it's not as serious as some of the other Marvel movies. It is very, very funny in places, and there's is it David Harbour, the guy from Stranger Things? Yeah, is that his name? I forget what his name is. He plays Red Guardian, which is essentially the Soviet version of Captain America, and he is brilliant in it. Really, really funny. So I found it really entertaining. So that was an excellent film. I really liked it, and it was really nice because it was it set the timeline. It's set between the end of Civil War and the beginning of Infinity War. So right there, it's what she does in between, essentially, and it flashes back to the early years when she was a kid and stuff. So it's really good. It really gave you a backstory and an understanding, and at the same time, it really led into the kind of the 4th phase of the MCU universe, where the MCU basically, where they're going to be doing I don't know what they're going to be calling it, but it's essentially the Dark Avengers. Where the bad Captain America is getting recruited at the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then now you've got Yelena, who's Black Widow's sister, who's going to be the new Black Widow in this new Avengers. So it's really nicely set up to look backwards and then present and future, which I really enjoyed.
We should have
really good.
Should have got you on last week, Ollie, because a lot of what you've just said, I have no idea what that means. And we were talking about superhero films and the MCU and the different. And Luke was really into that, and he also mentioned Black Widow. But that's, I guess, that if you did listen last week and you listen this week, that's the kind of thing that I don't get. You know, that it happens in the bridge between. What was it, Civil War and Infinity War? I have no idea. I can't remember.
It's when they're on the run, because they end up on the run at the end of Civil War.
Yeah. Civil War's the one where they're fighting against each other, yeah?
Yeah, because they've essentially, some of them have become criminals because they won't kind of abide by certain accords and stuff. So they've gone on the run. And then when Infinity War starts, obviously they all have to come back together because there's a bigger threat than the US government, essentially.
Fighting a common enemy.
You need to get busy and start watching these films, Ian.
but I like it, right, Ollie? And this is what I talked about last week. I don't mind watching them, but I don't really have the time or the inclination to get into the bigger narrative of, you know, the timeline, because there's that many films. There's a film every 20 minutes or so. It's just difficult. Or then there's a TV show, and I know it's all done to rip us all off and generate money. You know, it's on Disney and it's on this, and you got to. But if you don't know the timeline,
it's done to entertain us.
Yeah, no, but it's not like there's a series of films. It's like, we're going to put these at the cinema, and then you've got to get a Disney subscription before you can get this, and then you've got to do this and understand this, and then you've got to go back to the comic books, because it's like, come on, I just want to watch a film. So, as I said, I like them for standalone films, but it probably would enhance my viewing if I understood where they fit into the big overarching narrative, but I don't.
Yeah, I get it's the same with the comics though. You could get away with just reading Spider-Man. You know, you could do that, but then there's all these other storylines going on that Spider-Man occasionally jumps into. So you have to. It's like the comics always have been. You know, you've got your individual stories, but you benefit from reading all of them.
But you enjoyed it as well, didn't you, Luke?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought Florence Pugh was really good. I think she's going to be a really good character going forward. And David Harbour was just he was just having so much fun.
Yeah, he was really good. He was on form, wasn't
he? Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah. My second cinema movie was Space Jam 2 with LeBron James, which was it's a Space Jam movie, isn't it? I mean, it was entertaining. I took my youngest Zev to go and see it. And it was good, you know. It was there was lots of kind of computer animation and stuff, which was really well done. Don Cheadle's in it, and I like Don Cheadle, so he played his part really well. And what I liked was the finale, you know, the big basketball match at the end. They had two sides to the spectators to the game, essentially, in this kind of computer world, you know, the kind of the server world that the bad guy lives in, and half of it were people that were just tuning in, that were sucked in through their phones, and the other half were Warner Brothers characters from films and cartoons and everything. So you had King Kong was there, you had the Iron Giant, you had Pennywise from It, you had the guys from Clockwork Orange. You had, all the Wizard of Oz characters, and they were all there, and it was really cool. Just like, for me anyway, not for Zev because he doesn't know half of them, but for me it was really cool to look in the audience and try and the spectators, and to try and pick out, oh, look at that, oh, that's that, and that's that, or there's that guy from Shark Tale, or there's it was I really enjoyed that bit. It kept me awake anyway doing that, but generally it's a bit of a predictable kind of, father versus son type thing. They fall out and then they get back together. It's essentially Hook, but with a basketball.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of
Hook, but with basketball. I got it there straight away.
I've been a bit wary of it because I love the original. Do you know what I mean? And I've been bitten by Bill and Ted lately. So I was wary of watching it because I do really want to watch it, because I love the original. I think it was a great idea, great concept, and a lot of fun. So it's not going to ruin my love of the original Space Jam then.
I don't know.
All right.
He's not Michael Jordan, let's just put it that way, but it's all right. It's worth a watch, if you've got a bit of spare time. I wouldn't take time out of my day to definitely watch it, but it's okay. It was all right, basically.
Okay.
And I watched a couple of other movies. Another one with the kids, Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Great film.
That is fantastic. One of the best films I've watched all year. It's so funny and so well made. And I was a bit kind of wary at first because I was like, well, it's not gone to the cinema. It's not, I mean, I know it was kind of pre-reopening of everything, but I thought, if it was going to be really good, they'd try and hold it off for the cinema. But it was brilliant. It's one of the best animated movies I've watched in years and years and years. And it had all of us, all 5 of us, we watched it together as a family, had us all laughing. It was really, really good.
Yeah, it was excellent.
The characters were well kind of, thought out, and they all had their different kind of angles to them. It was great. The 2 robots that paint faces on their on their heads are brilliant as well. Overall, just a really funny, well-made film that's great for adults. Just to watch as an adult on your own, it's really good. But we watched it as a family, and it was equally just so much fun. So,
yeah, and I think there's a lot of powerful messages in there as well, isn't there? About tech, spending time together, about family, about the technological world we live in. Changes that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it was Luke that put me onto it.
Yeah, we had a friend who watched it based on us talking about it on here with his family as well, and him and his daughter have kind of been in a similar place to the dad and the daughter in that, and it actually really, they found it actually watching it in a film really helped them.
That's great.
Just exploring that, and I think that's the wonderful thing about films. Sometimes it has the conversations we don't have, and it's a great film.
Yeah, to be fair, Space Jam 2 had a similar thing to that as well. The kind of the son and father, and how they don't quite see eye to eye, and they come back together. But it like you said, they have conversations that you don't often have yourself in reality. So it's it had a good message as well.
Great film.
Yeah, the final film I watched was last night, and I watched Nobody.
Yes.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, loved it.
What a great film that is. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Is that the one with Bob Odenkirk?
Yeah.
I went to cinema to watch it. Yeah, I loved it.
It's really good. It's great in terms of its realism, in terms of he takes quite a battering, doesn't he? He gets kicked around a bit at the beginning, and then the end, the final gunfight is just absolutely insane. And to see Christopher Lloyd with multiple shotguns hanging off him is just a joy to behold.
That's you brought a lot of guns. Well, you brought a lot of Russians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the RZA as well is in there, and that's great. I love to see him in movies. He's great, the RZA. So overall, I thought it was a great film. I really enjoyed it. And it's nice to see, because you'd expect like a film like that to have certain type of actor, wouldn't you? You wouldn't like when you Bob Odenkirk's mainly known for Saul Goodman, from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and you just wouldn't kind of put that actor in that role, but he does such a good job because he is a bit of an everyman, isn't he? He's a bit of a nobody, really.
Yeah,
and he just he does a great job.
Yeah, it was superb casting, as you say, for that reason, because I think he's a really, really talented actor. From his stuff in Saul, the way he does the transition from, Jimmy to Saul is excellent in Breaking Bad, but he plays that everyday ordinary very well. Mm-hmm. It's the other side that I was worried about, but I think he does it excellently. Do you know what I mean? Whereas obviously it's, a lot of the same people who were involved with John Wick, but with Keanu Reeves, he is that character from the beginning. He's pretty cool, and he's going to be able to do it. So I like that that contrast.
Yeah. I like he's a normal guy, but it's simmering underneath the whole time, and you can feel him, bubbling away. And that release where he finally lets go on the bus is, and
he loves it, doesn't he? He really wants it to happen. He really wants it to happen. That's what I really liked as well. He's in the bus thinking, he's not thinking, oh no, please don't let this happen because I'm going to have to do it, and it's just all going to go bad. He's desperate for them to try something so that he can just let it all out.
And ultimately, he's got nobody to blame but himself for getting the mess he gets in.
Yeah. But I think he wants it, doesn't he? I think he's sick of. He just reaches. It's a bit like falling down. He's sick of that. He reaches that point where he doesn't want to be nice and normal anymore. He just like, no, I'm looking for that opportunity. It's gonna come. Here we go. And I like the way the soundtrack is weaved into it as well. You know, with the vinyls and stuff. I like that.
Yeah, it's a good film. Good film. Is anything else you watched this week, Ollie?
No, those were the four main ones. I've been watching quite a lot of Fear the Walking Dead, as in terms of just episodes, just because it's easy to watch, just to get a little bit of an episode here and there. That's been quite good. I've enjoyed that. Some issues with it in terms of character kind of arcs and stuff, but generally it's all right. It's no Walking Dead, but it's all right. It's good, entertaining. Zombies on a boat. That's always fun.
Great. Well, this week I've done a little, well, more than last week anyway, but not a huge amount this week. I rewatched Jurassic Park to start with. Simply because I was jealous that Ian got to watch it with his film club last week, and I was just thinking, oh, I can watch that anytime I want. So I put Jurassic Park on, and again, sometimes you forget until you rewatch something how good it is, and the direction in that film, just the way, even simple shots with people climbing over a fence. The camera doesn't stay still. The camera is never, and it's just everything's so effective in that film. Really good. Much imitated, never quite repeated. So love Jurassic Park, great film. Then I watched Guns Akimbo.
Yeah, as I said to you on Twitter, I was going to watch it, but
Radcliffe, is it?
Daniel Radcliffe gets drawn into. He's a kind of like troll hunter in the sense that his job is to go on his company's website and find the people who are trying to troll or spam people and take them off the site. But he gets into an argument on this late night. He's had too much to drink, and there's this new thing that started up online called I can't remember what it's even called now. Anyway, it's basically Fortnite, but in real life, live streamed. People against each other, and people that volunteer to do it and get paid for it, and everyone's watching people essentially kill each other. And he gets into this sort of, he knows what makes a good troll, so he becomes one and starts, really poking them, and they turn up at his door, weld guns to his hands, and say, "You have no choice now. You have to fight." And their champion, who's played by what's her name? Sorry, I need to check what her name is. She's played by Samara Weaving. That's it. Who was in Bill and Ted and Get Out, not Get Out. Ready or Not.
Yeah, Ready or Not's a great film as well.
Yeah, and she's actually really good. She plays like this terrifying, person who's beating everybody in every fight, and it is, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. There's a number of times I was sat there thinking, I don't even know what I'm watching. I mean, the camera work's insane. The violence is insane. And at some point I was thinking maybe this film's trying to make a statement about computer game violence. Maybe it's trying to say something about how when we invest ourselves in online violence, we become something else. But it's so violent in itself, I don't know if it actually was saying anything at all. But I kind of enjoyed it. I don't think I've seen a film quite like it in a long time. It's a very hard film to describe. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But Daniel Radcliffe's very good, and Samara Weaving's very good as well, and they have a great chemistry between them. Yeah,
he doesn't. I mean, he's done a few, but he doesn't do normal films.
No, he doesn't. No.
A lot of his films are mental, aren't they?
They are.
Like, Swiss Army Man was at the end.
Yeah, that's amazing. That film.
Probably the most bizarre film I've ever seen in my life. Or that, or Midsommar.
Very good.
But it's like,
but he's making interesting choices, and this again, it's an interesting choice, and it's worth a watch, but it's very odd, very odd.
But you'd kind of expect it, wouldn't you? When you've been Harry Potter, you need to really make some interesting choices after that to kind of break away from that. You can't go mainstream. You can't do kind of normal films because you'll just be forgotten. You'll always be Harry Potter. So you've got to do something out there.
Yeah.
And Swiss Army Man was a brilliant film. It was Paul Dano as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit.
It was very strange, but
a bit too much nonsense for me.
So good. I really liked it.
But yeah, so it's worth a watch anyway. It's just
It's on Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah. Then I watched. Speaking of strange films, I did another very strange film called Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar. Which came out during lockdown, but I think it's just it came out sort of just on on demand only. But it's just it's available. I think it was on Sky. It was on Sky's premiere. It's Kristen Wiig, and a friend, and they I don't even know how to describe it. It's funny. I'll give it that. I definitely laugh. It's got.
Well, you're meant to.
Oh yeah, you're definitely meant to.
Okay.
And they go on holiday, but they get involved in this plot that this villain, also played by Kristen Wiig, is trying to destroy the town. And it's I can't even tell you. I mean, it's one of those films that I'm not even sure what the plot was, but I laughed plenty, and it had a musical number in the middle, which was just again very, very strange. If you're in a mood just to not understand what you've just seen, then I would go with that. I can't describe it.
A lot of the time on here, do you know what I mean? Like, I listen to other podcasts and I get films. Oh, I'm going to watch that. When you tell us what you've been watching, 9 times out of 10, I'm never watching that. Toy, never watching that. Guns Akimbo, I don't know. Whatever you've just said about whatever that was called, probably not going to watch that.
Did you just say Toy?
The Toy. Oh, I did that last week. Yeah, that don't watch that.
It's not Robin Williams, is it?
No, it's
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
All right.
That is.
Oh yeah, Robin Williams is in one called Toy as well, isn't he?
Toys, yeah. Which was actually okay, but don't watch the Toy. It's not worth it.
So what other nonsense have you watched that we're not watching, Luke?
Sorry.
So what other nonsense have you watched that no one watched?
That's the nonsense, and I wanted to watch something. You know, we talked a few weeks ago about films that make us happy.
Yeah.
So I put on a film that makes me happy, and that's The Way Back.
Good film. That's the swimming pool one, is it?
Yeah, where he works at a water park.
Yeah. Coming of age film, really good film. I was really surprised by it. I don't know how I watched it, but I remember thinking I've never heard of this and loved it.
Yeah, it's Steve Carell plays the perfect horrible stepdad, mum's boyfriend kind of character. That right from the first scene, you're like, this guy is the worst. And in fact, all of the parents are pretty much the worst. And it's just, I don't know, there's something about the kid in that film that feels like that's the kind of kid I was, and I just relate to him the whole way through.
And what was that on?
We've got it, but I think we watched it on Prime. I think it was on Prime on Netflix. It was on one of the two anyway.
I haven't seen it for a while, but I remember really loving it.
And Sam Rockwell is the sort of, the cool character who takes under his wing. Sam Rockwell plays that so well. It's you're watching it going, if I'd been that age, that's the person I would have wanted to be my friend.
Yeah, he's his role model, isn't he?
Yeah.
So some really good people in that film.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Good cast.
Alison Janney. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Rob Corddry, Maya
Rudolph. Have you seen it, Ollie?
No, I've not seen it. No.
Good film.
Well worth a watch.
Right.
It is. It's a coming of age one, but it's about this kid who just finds himself, when he's on holiday. But even when he arrives on holiday, he's going to the beach in his jeans and his, and sitting there in the sand, just miserable. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what I was like on every holiday at that age.
Yeah, it reminds me, like I was talking last week about The Sandlot. It reminds me of that in some ways, that a kid doesn't fit in, struggling to fit in, and finds his people, and then just really, comes out of himself and finds out who he is. So I like it.
Yeah, but so we watched that. That's one of those films. No matter what mood I'm in, that'll put me in a good mood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched on the back of that. It's a documentary, but it came out at cinemas. It's Class Action Park, which is about a water park in America, New Jersey, that opened up. That was the most dangerous water park. I mean, people died at this place, and eventually it got shut down. And it's an amazing story of a place that should never have existed. I mean, they had a water slide with a loop-the-loop, where people during one of the test slides lost teeth, bashing their heads in it. And then people kept going down it, and people were coming out with lacerations, and they discovered it was because of these teeth that had got wedged in it. And people were getting cut on the. I mean, it's absolutely bonkers that this place existed. But so that was interesting. It wasn't exactly the best documentary, but the subject matter was just like, you can't believe this place ever existed. And it was all these recollections of people who used to go there as kids going, oh yeah, people died on that. I mean, somebody died. It was electrocuted in the River Rapids because it had fans in the water that shorted out. And
crazy.
Absolutely. Can't believe that place ever existed. And then yesterday, I did the Magnificent Seven remake
with Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington one, yeah. Which I've never seen the original, and I wanted to see the original first, but I couldn't find it. But this was available on Netflix.
You've never seen the original? You've never seen the Magnificent Seven?
No, I haven't. I know, and I'm ashamed to say it.
Brenner, McQueen, and Bronson. Oh, come on!
I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it anywhere. And that's an issue, I think, with streaming. They don't always have the classics, and it makes the classics a little harder to find. Every now and again, one will pop up, but some films you just can't seem to find anywhere.
Is it not on Sky?
That's why. Because you should own it. That's why.
Is it not on Sky, Luke?
No, I couldn't find it on Sky. Couldn't find it anywhere. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do the remake, but I'm not going to judge it too much until I've seen the original. And maybe if I can track down the Seven Samurai as well, I'll do that.
But like with most westerns, both of them I enjoy to a point, and then they just miss something.
Yeah, I thought it's a great cast in the remake. I mean,
brilliant cast, yeah.
The originals, of its time, that was an outstanding cast. But you know what I mean? And story's good. I like it to a point. It's not, I don't like it. I would give it an 8 out of 10 or something, but I think I just want something to be better.
So it's no Three Amigos.
Oh, no. You've made me want to watch the Three Amigos again.
Oh, so good. I watched that recently, actually. Yeah, Three Amigos is brilliant. Yeah. Dusty Bottoms.
Oh, brilliant! But yeah, so I quite enjoyed the Magnificent Seven, but I'll withhold judgment until I've seen the original and Seven Samurai. But I have to say, best one in it, for me was Vincent D'Onofrio. He was great. Every time he was on, I thought he stole every scene he was in.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I think do you know, because Sky are doing this original versus remake thing? It's True Grit that's on there. It wasn't the Magnificent Seven. So
yeah. I will find it. Maybe I'll just have to buy it. I'll have to suck it up.
I think I have it. I have it, but I think talking about films. Have you finished, Luke?
Yeah, that's me done for the week now. Yeah.
So I picked up yesterday in a charity shop Inner Space and Flight of the Navigator for £1.
Oh, each or together?
50p each.
Oh, classics!
Wow.
Inner Space and Flight of the Navigator.
What? Flight of the Navigator used to freak me out.
What did?
On my
Flight
list.
of the Navigator. The idea that you could just miss 7 years of your life and your little brother becomes your big brother. I couldn't handle it.
Compliance. Yeah. But I love it in Inner Space. I haven't seen it since I was a kid because I remember loving it. That they went inside someone's body and I remember loving that. And that seemed to be all arranged then. Something happening because it was like Inner Space. There was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Look Who's Talking. It was like just tiny things inside big things. So yeah, anyway, that was my thing. Get your charity shops. They've got DVDs like 50p each now.
Oh, I'll have to do that. I'll track down the Magnificent Seven. I will try and watch it by the time we do this again.
Very good.
So that's it. That's all I've watched this week.
So that's what we've been watching this week. Let us know what you've been watching. Wherever you're listening, let us know what you've been watching. If you've got any comments on any of the films that we've watched, if you disagree with us, if you've seen some of the madness things that Luke watches, let us know what you think of them.
Barb and Star, tell me what on earth happened, because I don't understand it.
Barb and Star
go to Vista Del Mar. It's one of those films I don't know what I'm watching. But anyway, yeah. Not a recommendation.
So if you have got any thoughts on what we've watched, let us know and tell us what you've been watching too, because we're always looking out for recommendations. And on the back of talking about what Luke sometimes describes these films in the way that he does, I found, is it Lady Hawk? That's on Disney.
Oh, Lady Hawk's great.
So I've added it to my list.
But it's great.
I've added it to my list to watch on your recommendations. So,
is it on Disney?
Yeah. So your reputation is on the line, Luke.
Oh, you'll enjoy Lady Hawk. If you've got a soul, you'll enjoy Lady Hawk.
Oh, we'll see then, won't we? Okay, so now we move to our guest to focus on Ollie and talk about the films of his life, the things that have had a significant impact on his life that mean a lot to him. So, Ollie, so I just want to start by asking you, and it's a difficult question, I know, but we ask the difficult questions on this podcast, so it's like investigative journalism. So what is your favourite film?
Big
or
Lebowski.
if you want to back out one of your favourite films.
No, Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
Wow,
Big Lebowski.
You just went for that there.
Number one. Unbeatable. It's amazing. I've got such a massive connection to that film. I love it so much. It's like, I don't really have, I know that a lot of people go, I could never choose my favorite song. I could never choose my favorite book and things like that. I don't have that problem at all. Big Lebowski, Good Omens by Neil Gaiman, and Take On Me by a-ha. It's simple. Those are my absolute favorites.
You're a man who knows exactly what he likes there.
Yeah. But the Big Lebowski, what is there not to like? It is so well made. It is so brilliantly filmed. Its cinematography is amazing. The acting is the actors are just brilliant. They're all brilliant actors. You've got Philip Seymour Hoffman, you've got Bridges, you've got John Goodman, there's so many people on there. Peter Stormare, you've got people that are just really, really well-versed actors doing very, very good job of characters. And I always base how much I like a movie on how much I see the character or how much I see the actor. So there's films like the Mission Impossible films. I see Tom Cruise and I see Simon Pegg and I see Ving Rhames and Doug Ray Scott and whoever else is on there. I see the actors. But when I watch a movie where I don't see the actors, I just see the character, then those are really special movies. And The Big Lebowski is exactly that. At no point do I look at any of the characters and see the actors that are playing them, because they do such a good job, and there are just so many moments in that film that make me smile and that are just brilliant. Just that bit when he's coming back from being arrested by the Malibu police, and the dude is in the back of the taxi, and he asks if he could turn the music down, and the taxi driver goes mental, and he just ends up in the middle of nowhere. It's just tiny little things like that just really make me happy. Yeah. Because they're so well done. And the way that he repeats phrases that he hears, right at the beginning, he's in the shop buying milk, and he's watching the TV, and there's George Bush saying this aggression will not stand, with the Iraq kind of invasion. And then later on, he repeats it when he's being roughed up by the goons. He's like, this aggression will not stand. So just tiny little things like that are just brilliant. And the way that they made that film, the Coen brothers have crafted that film, is just brilliant.
Really, the dude is one of the coolest characters in film history, isn't he?
Brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant.
I think I'm a bit like you, Ollie, that I can name my favourite everything. Do you know what I mean? You know, so just going on, we'll see if Luke can. But the thing for me, it would be Rocky, Lion, the Witch in the Wardrobe, Mbop by Hanson. Easy.
Good choices.
So come on, Luke, before we move on to the next question.
Oh, dear me. The Prestige.
Ooh, nice.
Book.
See, Luke, this is the thing. You need to know these things in life.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I could...
None of us
On Stranger Tides by Tim Powers is my favourite book, which was ruined when Disney bought the title and made a completely different film for their Pirates of the Caribbean series. And song, Innuendo by Queen. There you go.
Very good. Okay.
No. Lady of a Certain Age by the Divine Comedy.
So there, we've kind of proved the point, Ollie. You know, decisive, definitive. We know what we. It's like, well, sorry.
I'm not as decisive. I know that.
No, it doesn't mean you're less a person, Luke. It just means you're less decisive. Next question, Luke.
Yes. Okay. So, which film, Ollie, caused you to fall in love with films?
Right. Well, it's a hard one, that really, because I've always been into watching films. I think the first, and it was quite late on, really, the first film that I really watched, not just as a story on the screen, but as a, you know, the whole kind of looking at the camera shots and the way that things are done and the kind of the you know, the special effects in it and stuff like that, was the Matrix, I think, was the first film that I watched. Maybe I must have been 17, 18 at the time, where I watched it, and I really watched it for the cinematography, for the film, for the you know, the film aspects of it, rather than just the story. And that's a kind of a love affair that I've had with the Matrix since that point. For the longest time, before I got married, before I lived, you know, before I shared a room with my wife, I used to fall asleep to the Matrix. I used to put it on and put a timer on my TV and lay down, close my eyes, and just listen. So for every night, pretty much every night, I just used to listen to the Matrix as I went to sleep. So I know it really well, and I know it without actually watching it. I know the sounds and the you know, and the music and everything really well, because I used to kind of listen to it when I was asleep. And I know that sounds a bit weird, but I never used to be able to get to sleep with quiet. I used to either have the radio when I was a kid, or movies when I finally got a TV and DVD in my room. So The Matrix was, I think, the first film where I really got interested in not just watching something to entertain or to pass the time, but to actually enjoy the way it's been made and the different aspects of it. So that was the film that really got me into movies, into watching all types of movies, you know, just to enjoy the film as opposed to the story. Yeah,
it's one of those films that I think, because we're of a similar age, that it's just like a fixed point in cinema viewing. You know, it just changed it slightly for me. So there's all these significant things, but The Matrix was like nothing I'd ever seen before in content and visually, aesthetically. It was like, this is crazy. And then open up the concept, and then a powerful message. And then for even now, not now, but for years after, I would be like, what if? Do you know what I mean? What if it is all just an illusion, and that we're really just plugged into a computer program? But such a significant film for me. It's just so good on so many levels. I think I watched it again recently, and as revolutionary it was at the time, the special effects and stuff, you can see that, you know, not it's outdated, but things have caught up. But I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I remember going to see that at the cinema, and those times where you come out and the credits start rolling, and you sit there and you go, that's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You might think that a little while later, but in that moment, right there and then, you're like, that's the best film I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And
I loved everything about it. The phones, because he had the flip phone, didn't he? And they became a marketing tool.
Oh, yeah, I got one of those.
I worked with a guy that his surname was Anderson, so all the time, Mr. Anderson, all the time. It drove him mad. I didn't care. Every time he'd ask me to do anything, yes, Mr. Anderson. So, what film?
Well, the phones, the flip down phones, they didn't have. In the film, they've got like a spring action to them.
Yeah.
But the actual phones didn't have that.
No.
You just had to put them down.
Yeah.
And me and my friend Tom, we rigged up a spring inside it to do that.
All right.
Yeah, man, that was really good. That was one of my crowning engineering glories.
Wow.
That and the Scalextric brake.
Wow.
Scalextric brake.
Oh yeah, where we put a little button, a little switch that reversed the current, so it would make it go backwards. So you click it to brake. The Scalextric brake.
How were you not a millionaire?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? You got them flip phones at the time. That's some market tool. We can make your phone flip down like Neo, right? Yeah. And we can put brakes on your Scalextrics. You should be selling
the brakes on Scalextric is amazing. You just got full blast, and then you hit the corner and just click it, and round the corner perfectly.
I think the Matrix is coming back, isn't it?
Or have I made that up? 4, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
And it's Keanu Reeves again, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I hope he doesn't do to Neo what he done to Ted
Theodore Logan.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't do that, because that was sad watching him.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that film. That's just sad.
Right, okay. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But the Matrix 4. So I guess Keanu Reeves is just going around making all the films he made 20 years ago. I look forward to Speed 3.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
Train.
What is your first memory of a film that you've seen at the cinema, or a strong cinema memory? Because as we talked about, my first cinema memory was eating wine gums out of a box. But then the film that I remember was different. It was a different occasion. So what was yours, Ollie?
I don't remember eating anything at the cinema. We weren't allowed to have cinema snacks. Too expensive. But I do remember very, very young Condor Man.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah,
talked about that last week with the superheroes. What a guy.
Michael Crawford, Oliver Reed, James Hampton, the dad from Teen Wolf. Brilliant.
Yeah.
It is a brilliant film. It's the only film, the only kind of superhero film where I've genuinely wanted to be one of the bad guys rather than the good guy.
They had the cool cars.
He had the 911 Turbo. Oliver Reed, Krokov, had the 911 Turbo with the silver windows, and all of his other bad guy friends had the normal 911s with the black windows.
I'd have settled for those blacked out windows.
It was just amazing. And what did Condor Man have? He had the old peasant van that turned into this weird kind of Lamborghini Countach looking jet car that did not look good at all. But yeah, Condor Man was just brilliant. Who thought that Michael Crawford would make a good superhero? I wonder who thought that.
You know, I haven't seen that in so long, but now it's come up 2 weeks in a row. I really want to watch it.
Yeah, you might well be disappointed, but it's my earliest film memory. Yeah, and I remember it because my older brother wanted to go and see it, so we all went, and he started freaking out at the beginning. Because right at the beginning it's a cartoon. There's like an introductory cartoon type.
Well, he draws them, doesn't he? He's a cartoonist, isn't he?
Yeah. So the cartoon is like the intro. The credits, the intro is a cartoon essentially. Yeah. And I remember my brother freaking out, going, "This isn't what I wanted to see. This isn't the film. We're in the wrong place. This isn't the film." And getting up and starting to walk out. And my parents going, "Come on, sit down. This is the film. Just sit down and wait." And he's like, "No, we've got to leave. This isn't the right film." It was great. And I'm just sitting there going, "What's going on? What are you doing? Just sit down."
Yeah, I remember that he was a cartoonist and he became the character he created. So I would draw cartoons afterwards. Not, I don't think in the hope that I would become them, but it just helped my imagination, and I would go off into, my imagination. I was these characters, slightly more cool characters than Condor Man, but still, what a film!
Brilliant. Okay, Ollie. Which film do you think deserves more credit than it gets? So maybe it's been a film that's maligned and you think it's great, or you think a film that's just kind of been under the radar when and it deserves so much more.
I think there's certain films that have kind of gone under the radar that are brilliant. The first one was, there's a couple actually. First one's Win Win. Have you seen Win Win with Paul Giamatti? Oh, put it on your list immediately.
Putting it on as we speak.
It is it's a beautiful film, really well made. It's a great story, and Paul Giamatti is such a good actor. You know, it's just, I don't even want. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You just have to watch it. It's a brilliant film. It's
Win Win. Hold on. There's a lot of films called Win Win. Hold on. Oh, that looks like the one. 2011.
Yeah, it's
John McCarthy.
That's Paul Giamatti right there.
Bobby Cannavale. It's got Burt Young.
Burt
Young.
Yeah.
All right, I'm all over that then.
Yeah. I thought you might be. Burt Young's in it. It's it's really good. It's a real like story of real life, essentially. What could really happen, and there's some really funny bits in it. Bobby Cannavale is his best friend, and he's funny as hell in it. It's really good, and it's just worth the watch. It's really heartwarming. Heart-wrenching in parts, but really lovely. And that just kind of flew under the radar, and just, you know, I watched it. It's like almost like an independent film that nobody really watched, but it's a great film. And then the other film that I thought didn't get enough recognition, which was kind of a big budget kind of movie, was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, I've not read the book or the books or whatever. If it's a series, I don't even know. I've not read them, so I can't compare them. And I know a lot of people will compare the film to the books and say, well, the book's much better. But inevitably, any book is going to be better than the film, isn't it? Because you do so much more in a book than you can with a film. But I thought it was a brilliant film. I thought it was great. Alan Rickman's voice as the paranoid android. What's his name? Marvin? Is it Marvin?
Marvin, yeah, Marvin the paranoid.
Marvin, yeah. Is just brilliant. You've got Zoe Deschanel, you've got
Sam Rockwell,
Martin Freeman. Rockwell's in it, and I love Rockwell in anything he's in. You know, you've got John Malkovich is in it, Mos Def, loads and loads and loads of people and it's just really good. It's my sick day film, you know. It's if I'm feeling ill and I don't feel well, I'll watch that, and it's just entertaining, and it makes me smile. And I don't think that got enough kind of plaudits for how good it is.
Brilliant. I haven't seen that either, probably for a similar reason, because, you know, there's quite a cult following of the book, and it sounds bonkers, so I never read the book. So I thought, well, I won't get the film, but maybe I should just give it a watch as a film.
The film's worth it, yeah. I've never read the book, but the film is great.
Well, there's a lot of films that I've watched where I've loved them as films, and then I've read the book afterwards, and I've still liked it. And it's difficult because you imagine what's in a film. But there's a lot of, because people say, oh, the book's always better, and I think inevitably it will be if you read it first. But there is some good adaptations, you know, there's some good things.
And I think sometimes it's quite good to watch a film before a book. I watched Jurassic Park before I read the book.
Yeah, I did.
It was really nice to have, you know, Sam Neill's face. And Jeff Goldblum, and to put the faces to the people.
That's one where the film's better than the book.
But I liked the book. Same with Shawshank Redemption. I watched the film first and then read the book. And although the book has a slightly different ending, I liked it. But like, say, with Harry Potter, I think they do a good job. Now, I'm a big fan of the Harry Potter books, but I think the films got all the important stuff in there, captured the characters well.
Yeah.
So I might watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy then.
Yeah, when people kind of compare the film to the book and they're like, oh, the book's much better. And it's like, well, yeah, it is, because it's a book. It's not a film, is it? You can't compare the two. They're the same story, but they're two different mediums. You can't really compare a book to a film, can you? So yeah.
And I think it's sometimes what you've experienced first. We talked about this the other week with remakes. So I watched the only one that booked the trend for me, I think, was The Departed. I watched Infernal Affairs, and then I watched The Departed, and I prefer The Departed, although most people. But usually I'll prefer the original, whichever one I've seen first. Or, especially when there was a lot of the Scandinavian films that the Americans remade. Usually I preferred the original because I'd seen them first.
Yeah, like Let the Right One In. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
That's a great film.
Good film, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the book is good. The books they're strange. They get worse as they go on. But it is a good book. Do you remember the TV series in the early 80s?
Yeah, I never watched it. I do remember of it, but I never really watched it.
And just flipping the coin over, Ollie, what film did you say where you just don't get the hype that everybody seems to love it, or it's very popular and you just don't get it?
Twilight series, Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Why? Good answers. Good answers there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would agree. I didn't mind Hunger Games, but I didn't get the fawning over it. But I don't think I was the target audience of the books or the films.
Well, I don't know. Twilight was, when did that come out? We must have still been relatively young when that came out.
Still am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the films, I was just like, the first Hunger Games was good, and I liked the premise and everything, but then it just went on a bit, and it's just like, I don't really care about your revolution.
It's kind of the same with the first Twilight. The first one was okay. I remember watching it on an aeroplane because it's one of those films that just passed me by and got to the end and thought, that was all right. Whether it deserved all the sequels that it got.
Broody vampires, teenagers. It's like,
that's what I'm saying.
Perfect for viewing on a small screen on an aeroplane.
Yeah,
and they all go to school, but only when it's not sunny. And it's like, well, no, why is that not being picked up on? It's not a very good attendance officer going on there, is there? Have they never seen these people before? They've lived there for ages, but suddenly they just turn up to go to school. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't like it.
No, I think it was teen fiction in it. I think both premises were good. I think the Hunger Games was slightly better, but they were just too kiddish for me. So the thing with, I think Twilight could have been a good story, a bit like Underworld, but it was too much like who loves who and the forbidden love and Team Jacob or Team Edward. I think
you wonder if they signed up to do those, that they were going to do them all without reading them, because they get stranger and stranger as they go on. And I mean, by the time you get to that fourth film, it's weird. Yeah. One of those ones that I think I've seen them all, but I'll never ever watch them again. Never.
I didn't mind the first Hunger Games. Well, no, that's not fair. I enjoyed the first Hunger Games, but again, was it Battle Royale that it was ripped off?
Yeah, Battle Royale is by far a better film.
So,
not a fan.
Yeah, good call. They are films that, we agree. Everybody get a lot of hype, but don't deserve it. Yeah. Okay. Well, what would you say would be your most controversial film opinion? The one that you're scared to say out loud.
Well, I'm not scared to say anything out loud in any way, shape, or form. But I think the one that people disagree with me most is Waterworld. Waterworld is in my top 10 easily films. It's a great film. It's brilliant.
Have to confess, not seen it since it came out.
People are like, "Oh, it's rubbish! It's rubbish!" and Costner's rubbish, and it's just like, no, you're just jumping on the bandwagon of Waterworld is rubbish. You've not actually watched the film and really watched it, and it's brilliant. It's a great film. I love the premise. I love the whole, everything's flooded and there's no land and you have to live on boats, and and he's become a fish man, and I love all of that. I think it's a great film, and I think Costner does a brilliant job. He's a great actor.
Yeah, I mean, like Luke, I haven't watched it since release, and I thought it was awful. But at that age, I thought a lot of films were awful. Unless it was Schwarzenegger or Stallone blowing stuff up, I wasn't really interested. If it required cognitive engagement, I didn't care. I didn't care for the dialogue, didn't care for thinking about the cinematography. So I will need to revisit it. I filed it in my brain alongside, is it The Postman?
Yeah.
That costume, do you know what I mean? So it just goes in my brain as one of them films. Same with the Dances with Wolves was the same, but when I watched it 2 years ago, it's one of my favourite films. Absolutely love it. But I'd put it in that long, boring, nonsensical Costner film that I don't get. Whereas now, as an adult, as a fully grown human adult, I think I'll probably appreciate it.
Yeah,
more.
I really like it. Yeah. I think it's a great film.
Is Kevin Reynolds? Is it Kevin Reynolds who directed? Who did Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
I don't know who directed it.
Because I think it kind of finished him off, which is a shame, really.
But it was a massive budget, wasn't it?
Yeah,
huge. I mean, that was one of his big problems, was the budget. And there's always, when budgets go over, there's always people who get the knives out straight away, aren't there? And Kevin Reynolds, I think it finished him off career-wise, which is a shame because he's made some good films.
Yeah.
I don't include the Mountain of Monte Cristo, which is great.
Great film.
Oh, Count of Monte Cristo is a great film.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Risen.
That's kind of, but I think that's kind of like all he's done recently, isn't it?
Comeback film. That was all right, Risen.
Yeah, it was one of them ones where the book was better.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So just for the last section of the show, so that was really interesting to hear those things. Good discussion there. For the last section, we'd like to talk about something that you have brought to talk about. And you, when I asked you, raised the genre of apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic films, end of the world films, or where the world is in danger.
Yeah, Waterworld, I guess, is one of them.
Yeah, Waterworld would definitely be in there. Yeah.
And is that a genre you particularly like, or?
Not. It's not something that I'm drawn to as a must. It's a new apocalypse film, I must see it. But it's definitely one that I enjoy. It's probably one of the types of films where I've seen films and enjoyed them the most. Yeah. So things like, from a range of very serious to very silly movies. So things like Doctor Strangelove or, This Is the End. Those are just really silly, funny kind of apocalypse films. And then there's other ones that are more serious. And I think one of the films that made me realize this was actually from a book. When I was a kid in school, when I was about 13, I read a book called Z for Zachariah. You ever read that book?
No, you've recommended a film to me.
Yeah, so Z for Zachariah. It was made into a film with Margot Robbie and Chris Pine and is it Chitwell Elijah Fall? Yeah, maybe it was him. I can't remember who it was, but that was a good film version of the book. But the book is, well, better to say the least. But Z for Zachariah, the film, I remember thinking, oh, you know what, I really enjoyed this film, and then I started thinking, what is it about this film that I'm really enjoying? Because the book is much better, and I think it's that whole kind of, how are people going to survive after nuclear war, and what's the what's going to be the kind of the factor that makes them survive. And in Z for Zachariah, it's the fact that it's in this valley that is protected from the radiation. And then I started thinking about other films, like Children of Men, and what are the kind of the kind of the consequences of apocalypse, and Mad Max and things like I Am Legend, another film that's underrated. I think I love I Am Legend. I think it was a great film. But those kind of films, end of the world, real kind of things that are highly unlikely to happen. But in the back of my mind, always it could happen, couldn't it? There could be a killer zombie vampire disease that gets released, or there could be nuclear war, or anything like that. Or there could be robots that take over the world, and it's kind of
a pandemic.
Yeah, but it's kind of that science fiction, but kind of is still based in reality, isn't it? It could happen.
Yeah. It is. It's all. They're all kind of what if films, I guess, aren't they? In that sense. Have you read the book I Am Legend?
No.
Isn't the book I Am Legend vampires?
Yeah, it's a little different. It's got a different end to it as well. And I think they did an alternative end to the film that is more faithful to the book, but I've not seen that.
They did, yeah.
Because the book's ending's brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the it was originally vampires or something.
Yeah, I mean, don't want to spoil it for anyone, but the whole key of the book is because he's been going out killing them every night.
Yeah, it's a twist at the end, isn't it?
The twist is as far as they're concerned, he's the boogeyman, he's the bad guy, you know. And he thinks that they're the monsters, but they think he's a monster, and he's become a legend.
He's gone out hunting them.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good book. But yeah, I think. What do you prefer, Ollie? Do you prefer apocalyptic movies, as in you see everything destroyed, or do you prefer post-apocalyptic, where you see the results of everything being destroyed?
I think post-apocalyptic, I think, is more my thing. Yeah, so Z for Zachariah, Book of Eli, the Road, Mad Max, things like that are really. It's just interesting to see, isn't it? To see what people think might happen and how people might respond to things like that.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I prefer. I like from both, but I like to live through, if you will, the threat. You know, so whatever the threat is, although there's obviously post-apocalyptic threat, but it's usually radiation or sunlight or something. But I like to, or humanity itself. But I like to live like Independence Day and Armageddon and Zombieland and stuff like that. I like to live
dealing with the threat.
Yeah, to experience that hazard and the threat.
Did you watch that recent one that came out on Amazon, Greenland?
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed that. It was good.
Yeah, I didn't mind Greenland. I preferred Tomorrow War, I think.
Tomorrow War, yeah.
I don't know if I prefer Tomorrow War. I think they're both okay. Yeah.
But I think, my favourite is probably Terminator 2. If we're talking about that genre, just as a film, it's outstanding. I mean, I love both of them. Well, the first two Terminators, but Terminator 2 is the one where I don't know, it's just everything about it is great. So,
well, I've got another controversial statement for you, is that I think Terminator Salvation is better than any of them.
Whoa. Any?
Yeah, you should have went with that, Lolly.
Any of them? Well, you mean better than Terminator 1 and 2?
Yeah.
What he means is it's better than everything after Terminator 2. Surely that's what he means.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy Terminator 2 and Terminator 1 less, but Terminator Salvation is my favorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think we have a
controversial opinion. It gives you a little bit more clarity, doesn't it, about what's happened in the future for Skynet to take over completely.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say, Ollie. I'm stunned. I mean, your controversial opinion was Waterworld, and then you come out with this.
Yeah, because
Terminator Salvation is better than Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
I can't even process that. You're going to say next you like Terminator Genesis.
In terms of right, so in terms of pure films, right, it's probably Terminator 2 is probably better. But in terms of clarity of the storyline and that world in itself of what, how it happened and apocalypse and stuff like that, it's much better. It's much better. It explains things much better. It explains how John Connor, became leader of the resistance. It explains how the machines managed to take over completely. It's much clearer, and I really enjoy that clarity. Terminator 2 was kind of like, okay, so the machines have taken over, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, how? What happened? That's what I want to see. I want to see the whole kind of how did they get to the point where they're sending, Liquid Metal Man back into time and stuff. I want to know what happens. And Terminator Salvation answered those questions that I had as a kid watching Terminator 2. So that's why it's got a special place in my heart.
If there's anybody out there that, apart from Christian Bale, that agrees with Ollie that Terminator Salvation is better than Terminator 1 or 2. I'd love to hear from you.
They're media indoctrinated. They feel like they have to say Terminator 2. There'll be people who agree with me.
Oh, so now you're right, and it's a conspiracy theory.
There'll be people who agree with me who are scared to speak out.
No, we're all about, freedom of speech on here when it's related to films. So if you think, let us know what your favourite Terminator is. We did a vote once on Twitter, but it was only between Terminator 1 and 2 because we thought they were the only two worth mentioning. But if you want to open it up, we'll do a poll again.
Hey, you know what? Film is subjective, and it's what you feel when you're watching it.
Yeah,
and
to a degree,
every opinion's valid, except that one.
Yeah, except I'm right.
To a degree, I'm going to look at Terminator Salvation and see if Ollie's got any credits on IMDb for that.
I've got a stake in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what is... I mean, I'm scared to ask this now. So what is your favourite post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic film? Would it be Waterworld?
It's a hard one, that one. I think Book of Eli is probably up there.
Yeah, great film. And we all watched that recently.
Yeah, we did, in
the online film club that we're in, so that was good.
But I think Book of Eli is up there. Z for Zachariah, just because of the connection that it has to my youth, is up there as well. And Margot Robbie is just lovely to watch. She's a great actress and very pretty, so that's always nice, isn't it? But Z for Zachariah has got to be up there as well. And then Terminator Salvation.
Wow. I can agree with some of that, but what about you, Ian?
I don't know. I think probably Terminator 2.
After Salvation, surely.
No, it's definitely Terminator 2. Then possibly Terminator 1. And then I think, although it's slightly comedic, but I do have a lot of love for Zombieland. Just because of the way it's done. The whole, this is my rules for prepare. I just like it. Do you know what I mean? Cardio. I just thought.
If we're going for end of the world style ones, I guess maybe The World's End might be one of my top ones.
Yeah.
Even though it only kind of happens at the end, so it's not really about it. But I tend to veer more towards the apocalyptic than the post-apocalyptic because I like watching things I recognise being destroyed, I guess.
Yeah, you liked the one with the dragons, didn't you?
Oh, the one? No, I didn't. I hated that one because the mist is the best. Yeah, the mist is the best bit of the film.
It did. It was when I first watched that, I was disappointed that there wasn't a whole, army helicopters fighting dragons thing because that was in the poster.
That's what I signed up for.
Yeah, and that's who's that? That's McConaughey and Bale, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
You gotta love McConaughey as well.
Yeah, great.
Just shirtless man all the time.
But I have to say, I do have a sort of soft place for something like 2012. 2012 is great fun. It's a terrible film, but it's great fun.
Yeah, see, 2012, things like 2012, Day After Tomorrow, San Andreas, they've been destroyed in my life by the fact that I'm a geography teacher, and they're staples of right. Let's watch a bit of 2012. What could happen if there was a destabilization of the tectonic plate? And I know the first half an hour of those films off by heart, and the last bits not very much because can only fit about half an hour, 40 minutes into a lesson.
And I also liked Armageddon to a degree. It was a bit too cheesy, but I liked it, and it's been in a lot of my sermon illustrations. So
I think I preferred the other one that came out the same, Deep Impact.
Oh yeah, with Robert Duvall.
Yeah, I think I preferred that one.
Yeah, I didn't. But
no,
each to their own. You're allowed opinions unless they're just ridiculously.
Yeah, what's the
Terminator Salvation, Genesis, whatever it was.
Yeah, Terminator Salvation's the correct choice, obviously. But who was the woman? I really don't like her in Deep Impact. She was in.
Tia Leone. Well. No, I don't like her either.
No, she's really annoying.
Yeah, she a film gets like 20% worse just by having her in it.
Who's that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Tia Leone.
Oh, Tia, if you're watching this, I'm very sorry for the opinions of these gentlemen. But
we respect your existence as a person, just not as being in films.
Yeah, you're not a great actress, but you're a nice person, I'm sure.
Yeah, just
very good.
Don't want to see you on screen.
Yeah, please.
Well, that's been excellent. I've really loved this discussion. Thank you for coming on, Ollie, and sharing your thoughts with us. 99% of which were really good, and I really enjoy and agree with. I think a lot of time we have a similar outlook on films, and I like that. But it's good to get you on and your thoughts, and some good recommendations there. So I've got Win-Win on my list, and
I have there as well.
Z for Zachariah. So.
Well worth a watch. Win-Win. It's brilliant.
Brilliant. And hopefully you'll come back on again sometime, Ollie. And
yeah, absolutely. Happy
we'll
to.
delve into more things related to Terminator Salvation.
Yeah, we might just watch all of them.
Why don't you just watch it?
Yeah, we might just watch all of them and come back and review them.
Michael Ironside's in it as well, which is always good.
Yeah, maybe we need to do a Terminator deep dive. Do all the Terminator films and do a definitive list of which one's best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terminator Salvation.
And then,
so
I know which one's at the bottom. It's Terminator Genesis.
Possibly, yeah.
I've got them on my shelf. I'll have a look in a minute. But so as we said earlier, we've got a break next week. So we'll have a look at the format and stuff, and then we'll come back the week after with season 2.
Yeah, brilliant. Have a wonderful few weeks, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.